Hey, Barry. Hey, Regina. Hey, Mark. How are you? Mark, is your camera all hooked up? You plugged in? Hey, Derek, this is a good question. I would say PC, but I don't know anything. That's great. I think it's which is the most up to date. As far as memory, version of Windows. I always mention to people that they should update everything. Comes to all their updates. I think Mac is a little bit easier. So I think it gives you everything. For Windows, you actually have to.
Good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me all right? Let's give you our levels for this morning. Our pivot this morning is 43.15, 43.15. Resistance above at 27, 35, 42, 55. Support below at 05, 42.95, 84, 75. Pivot 15, support 05, 42.95, 84.75. Resistance on the upside at 27, 35, 42, and 55. All right, welcome. Some of the new folks who are here. We are trading mini S&Ps, trying to take advantage of ebbs and flows of the market, looking for opportunities to scalp the market. The volatility in the market at this moment is probably creating stops of 4 to 5 points because of the, like I said, the volatility that's been injected into the market overnight. The concern again is the lack of getting anything done, and then the possibility of not even getting the infrastructure bill passed, which again is a big stimulus to the economy, creating a little downside trade that occurred here overnight, and then now coming back up here this morning. Again, the chatter that's going on is always going to affect the market. We talked about that yesterday, and probably going to be continuing into today with a lot of concerns about what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. So these uncertainties in the market create the volatility that we are trading. So again, we're scalping the market, looking for opportunities to scalp the market against areas of inflection. The areas basically are places where we think the market will give us an opportunity to scalp the market, rotation, maybe momentum trades. It depends on how the market sets itself up and the opportunities that it gives us based on the price action and just ebbs and flows that occur in the market. All right. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat box area. If you look at the chat box area, you will see the levels that we printed out for you. Again, they're there for a guide to the day. We adjust those, we can tweak those. Everything is dependent on price action and volatility and movement. So nothing here is etched in stone. We can adjust those along the way based on the price action. It's always there are things that are occurring at different moments. Different, we might miss a level by a little bit. We have to make those adjustments accordingly. So those all come into play when you're trading. We'll see what happens. Every day is different. Every day is unique. We'll see what happens today. All right. It is Friday. It is October 1st. I don't think there was. Let me give me 1 second here. Let's look at the. Let's see what numbers are coming out this morning. Personal income. So there was no, even though it's the first Friday of the month, sometimes they let it slide and not have unemployment on the first Friday of the month, only because it's the first short month also of September. Consequently, sometimes you have, you don't have the, they give you an extra week to get the information that they need into the system. And so they kind of push it off a week. And that's what's happening this month. We'll see what happens. So there was no unemployment this morning, but there were a couple other releases of fundamental news. But again, remember I think what the market is really focused in on is the budget and lack of passing of any kind of stimulus that the president was talking about. Seems like he cannot get. Okay, we rotated down here to our 5 area, got down to 575 again. We're scaling in. I got down to 575. Hopefully, we were able to get in there at the 6 area as part of your upper part of your scale, and take advantage of this nice rotation here off of our 5 area. If you have the 5, it's a little bit more riskier now since you didn't get filled. Since we technically did jump off here. Remember, when we're extending our stops, you have to extend your entry points as well as far as your scales are concerned. We're not going to be keeping it at a half a point like usual, like most of the time. So you make adjustments according to the price action volatility any given day. Top end of the scale does work very nicely there for you if you did happen to jump in and take advantage of that. And now we're rotating here off of our blue band area. If you did take advantage of that, got in, hopefully you were able to take advantage of the trade and take a nice opportunity to scalp the market against our level up here. So nice little push there off of our support area. And if you are scaling in, you have to scale in according to the volatility on any given day, right? You just can't, if you're scaling in, you can't keep it at a half a point these days. Volatilities, markets are whipping around here a little bit, which is good. I mean, again, it's a double-edged sword, right? You are getting the opportunity, but then it's a lot riskier. So how do you handle that? You handle it by making sure you scale in properly, and also maybe trade less than you're normally usually trading. So obviously, if you're trading one lots, then you have to pick your poison there and see where you're going to get in. If you're going to keep it at the level, if you're going to keep it scaling at top end or bottom end. All those things come into play as a trader. You have to make those decisions independently of anybody else because everybody has different risk tolerances, obviously. So that's where we are at. So we come back down here and retest that area. Again, if you're going to, it's a lot riskier now if you have the 5 straight up. Might work, might not, but obviously if you're going to take the lower end of the entry point there, you got to make sure you adjust accordingly because it's a lot riskier since the market did rotate off of that R5 area. So that's not going to be perfect, like I always keep saying. Again, everybody trades just a little bit differently, and how you get in obviously is based on your risk tolerance. All right, so be a little bit careful there against the 5 if you didn't get in. Obviously, it's a lot riskier right now than it was just a few minutes ago. Next level of support we have is down at 42.95. 42.95 is the next support level. So yeah, we do have a couple numbers coming out this morning. We have PMI coming out, PMI manufacturing at in about 6 minutes, and ISM manufacturing index at 9 o'clock, top of the hour, with consumer sentiment. So a couple numbers to be released this morning. PMI in about 5 minutes or so, and again, we don't like to trade when numbers are out, so consequently, let's try to be flat around that time, and we'll see what what the market brings to us today. So now down below here, we're looking at the 42.95 areas, the next support level. And we have to take into consideration the volatility that's in the market these days, and understand how you scale in and how you get in and out are based on those risk tolerances that each individuals have. And like I said earlier, everybody's trades just that much differently, and you got to keep. You have to understand your risk tolerance and trade it accordingly. All right, so we do have a couple number in about 4 minutes here, and then we'll go from there and let that one come hit the market, and then we'll trade the after effect. Again, we don't like to have numbers, or we don't like to have positions when numbers are out. So consequently, we like to be flat, and if it comes close to a level, so you have to make a determination whether you want to get into it or not. Again, everybody has their own way of trading, so consequently, some people will, like to take that risk. Some people won't. I'm just putting it out there for you. You have to make that decision on your own. Right. Let's see what happens here with this number. Again, we're slowly down ticking. If you wanted to get short, you could have got short there against the 12 area. This rotation off of the 05 area. There was a good logical reason to get in at the 12. If you were looking for an entry point there to get short. And we'll deal with this number, and then we have another number at the top of the hour. So number in 15 minutes, and I mean, a number in 2 minutes here, and then another number in 15 minutes after that. And we'll see where the market takes us from there. Again, the underlying issue with the market these days is the situation in Washington. U.S. stock futures are trading lower this morning after another rough session. Now that was earlier before the market opened up, obviously, because we're up a little bit this morning. Another rough session on Thursdays. The market closed out of September and the third quarter. The S&P 500 finished the month off 4.8%, while the Dow and the Nasdaq slipped 4.3% and 5.4% respectively. The losses triggered by fears of inflation, slowing growth, rising interest rates, even led by S&P 500 to notch its worst monthly performance since the pandemic took hold in March of 2020. Currents from the Sea of Red are also spreading outside the United States over in Asia. The Nikkei closed down 2%, and the European stocks 601.5%. For most of the last 2 or 3 decades, central banks have had relatively easy task because every time they came up with a crisis, they had been free to ease policy considerably because of downturn inflationary pressures, said Deutsche Bank. But the problem now is that a lot of extenuating forces at the moment are inflationary, whether it's supply chain or stimulus. This rise the risks of policy error, but the program is we don't know which way the policy error is. Is it too much stimulus for too long, or is it tightening policy with all the inflation around the risk choking off the recovery? So they are in definitely quite a conundrum here, as the number here is imminent now. It's going to be released here momentarily. And we'll see what it wants to do as the market continues to downtick here a little bit. Support again, not at the 95, but again, this number is going to be released here momentarily, so be a little bit careful. So the next support level we have is down at the 95 area. Okay, got there to our settlement price there at 97.75. Maybe we're aggressive there and took them both against the backdrop of this number. The number is down at 95 we have, but I'm talking about the release of the first number this morning, fundamental. Did rotate down here with support down still at the 95 area, maybe a little on the low end of the entry point there would work. Maybe make a little bit of an adjustment. Market came right down to the settlement price there and bounced off here a little bit. If you were a little aggressive there, right on the number, that was been very aggressive there if you did take it. But if you did, you got paid off. Next support level we have still down at 95. Maybe make a tiny adjustment to the 95 area. Again, if it's too much risk, the market is got its momentum going one way, then just be patient. Coming down here to the 95 area. Okay. It's a nice little pop back here above the 95 area if you got in there and somehow we're able to scale in. Again, if the risk is there and you adjust it and you get in, that's fine. Have opportunities today. Like I said earlier, it's definitely a risk reward type of situation because of the volatility. Resistance right now would be around the 06 area on the upside. We do have another number coming out this morning. We have a couple numbers coming out at 9 o'clock here at the top of the hour. We've got ISM manufacturing index, as well as construction spending, as well as consumer sentiment. Together, they could make the market move a little bit. Traders will be closely watching key inflationary data set to be published at 7:30 this morning. Core consumer personal consumption expenditure index, price index, which was surged an unexpected 1.1% in July, is expected to slow to plus 0.2. It actually came out at plus 0.3, so it was a little bit worse than expected. So we'll see. That's a gauge that the Fed looks at. Inflationary figure, which measures price change from perspective of the consumer, is the utmost importance as the Federal Reserve uses it to set policy. So even though it was not, it was a little out of expectation, but not a big miss. So I think the market was kind of happy, at least early this morning. All right, market is kind of got down to the 95 area there and bounced off of it. Obviously, right now, if you have 95 straight up, you're not going to take that anymore because of the rotation here off of 5.5. It got down to. So you have to make these adjustments according to the price action. And I keep saying that because that's what you have to look at. Price action dictates your decision-making process here. So any ideas, concepts, or levels we talk about, it's taught, we try to explain to you why something would work, why it wouldn't work. So yeah, at the end of the day, you have to make those determinations on your own. Bonds kind of hanging around the 159, 160 handle here. So they've settled down a little bit after their sell-off over the last couple of weeks. They're kind of flatlining a little bit here, seeing what the next move is going to be. I mean, I really rallied a little bit yesterday in the face of that maybe break. All right, coming back down here, be a little bit careful there against 95 for reasons that we talked about. Obviously, it's a little bit more riskier if you didn't get in at 95.5 or 96. It's kind of thin. The market's kind of thin, so you have to be a little bit careful. Welcome some new folks that are here. We are trading mini S&Ps, trying to take advantage of ebbs and flows of the market. If you look at the chat box area, you will find the levels that we gave out this morning as a guide to the day. We can tweak those, adjust them, add to them, subtract from them, all depending on the volatility and the price movement, price action. Maybe they'll come up in a second here. Can we put up the levels again? Chat. There they are. Thanks. So we did go down to the 94 and change and pop back up. Maybe if you adjusted a little bit to the downside, you got filled on the 94 area. No, 95 actually. So the area did work very nicely for us. So the issues there in Washington continues. Government funding, Congress last night passed a stopgap spending legislation to avert a government shutdown. which was later signed by President Biden. The bill will keep the lights on the federal agencies through December 3rd, giving Congress 9 more weeks to pass a full budget plan. Buzz surrounding government shutdowns can trigger some market volatility, but this is least likely event to affect investors' holdings. Infrastructure, Pelosi promised to move ahead with the vote on the 1.2 bipartisan infrastructure bill before Democrat progressives said that they have the numbers to stall it. They want the Senate to agree to a separate $3.5 trillion social spending and climate policy package, or the White House terms human infrastructure, before pressing ahead on this front. Negotiations are still ongoing, but the developments have the potential to dent some sentiment in the market, especially infrastructure-related names, since the bill was key part of Biden's economic agenda, and thus the push here to the downside overnight. Yellen said that the U.S. will run out of funds to pay the bills by mid-October, and even called Congress yesterday to eliminate the mechanism entirely. The default would likely precipitate a historical financial crisis that could compound the damage of the continuing public health emergency. According to Yellen, it could also trigger a spike in interest rates, a steep drop in stock prices, and other financial turmoils. Our current economic recovery would reverse into recession with billions of dollars of growth and millions of jobs lost. No, let's not try to tell anybody something that they don't know. Again, we are hovering here on the lows against our support here at the 95. You can see it's rotated very nicely off of it a couple times, whether you got in the top end, lower end. Both have worked very nicely. Now we're looking at the next support level down at the 84 area. Yeah, it is Friday, but we're also see what happens. Markets are very slippery these days. We do have a couple numbers going to be released here in about 2 minutes. So be mindful of that if you are trading. Again, we don't like to have positions on when markets, when releases of fundamental news are made. So consequently, let's be mindful of that. So a couple numbers will be released here at top of the hour in about a minute and a half or so. So be a little bit careful. Okay, so 95 area is helped very nicely there. Kind of just bounced around down there a couple times, gave you ample opportunity to get in at whatever area you feel comfortable getting in. All right, we got a number. It's going to be released here momentarily. See what that's going to bring to the volatility here in the market. You can tell by the ladder ticket there, that's very, very thin. Not much is in there, as the number is going to create some volatility. At least the market is worried about it, so they kind of get out of their positions. They not have much in the ladder ticket. Let this number be released, and then the orders will come back in play. Very, very thin, getting out of some weak shorts, as you can tell here. And there it is, all crazy. Just all crazy. You can't, as a trader, make any legitimate reason to trade this stuff because it's all computer driven and just kind of doing its own thing. So you can't get in front of this mess sometimes. Slowly the orders are coming back in the order book because they're going to try to figure out what this number means. And they've sold it off, they've rallied it. This is the usual jumping around here with a number that's released as the market tries to figure out where it wants to go with it. We did say we have resistance around the 0.56 area. We got right up there. And if you're very aggressive there, that was a little area of resistance. You have to be a little bit quick there, obviously. ISM 61.1 versus the 59 that was expected. So a little bit bullish, but so the market is kind of reacting a little bit. Very, very thin trade. I mean, you're going to have your bears who are going to sell every rally, and sometimes I don't know if you have too many bulls these days, but these days it seems the bears are winning over. But it did rotate up to a good level of resistance up there. We talked about the 6 area earlier. If you did quickly jump in there and gave you a quick little scalp, again, it was, do you want to take the risk involved? It's a risk reward type of situation. I keep saying over and over again. You do have those risk reward situations occurring, when the markets are moving around like that, but you have to be quick. And so it all depends on how much risk tolerance each trader wants to take. Next level of resistance on the upside would be probably around the 12 area. If you're aggressive. Kind of let this kind of settle in a little bit before if you want to let this settle up a little bit, and then decide what you want to do from there. Support level will still be down at the 42.95 area. That still is our next support level. Obviously, with the move down to the 95 area, which worked very nicely. Now we're not trading that level anymore. And we'll see what happens. You got to just let the market kind of do its thing. Are we going to get back there or not? I have no idea. The resistance, again, like on the upside, would be around the 12. This is the usual chop around after a number is released. The market's just trying to figure out what it wants to do. Like I said, if you have extreme levels, extreme areas that you were looking at to trade, maybe those will get triggered with the volatility. We did have the 6. We talked about 6 swings, some resistance earlier. Maybe you could get in and we'll take advantage of a quick little scalp in that little move there too. But Again, you don't have to. Everybody trades a little different, like I keep saying. Everybody's got different risk tolerances. It goes without saying. Just got to find those areas that we think might give us a little bit of a rotation and then trade it accordingly. Consumer sentiment, 72. Thanks again for putting those up for me there, Glenn. 72.8 versus the 71. So again, those numbers, all those numbers were a little bit positive, but doesn't mean the market's going to rally or not. It just means that no, you had the goofiness that occurred, and they did rally, but now they're bringing it right back. Like I said, the problem is not the rally or is who's dominating the market. Are the bears dominating the market these days, or are the bulls? Right. That is the question. And volatility here continues a little bit. See what it wants to do. Be a little bit patient. Wait for just kind of to settle down. The support level, next support level we talked about is down at the 42. 95 already worked out. We're 84, 42.95 already worked out. So we're not looking at that level anymore. All right, to go down to the settlement price there. If you're a little aggressive, again, those are those little things that we sometimes expect it to do. Sometimes it works perfectly, sometimes it doesn't. That's why you keep your stops in place and take advantage of whatever opportunities are there if the market gives it to us. If you did jump in there against our settlement price there, you did okay. We are getting the volatility here, so giving you opportunities to trade. Even though it's kind of chopping around and very thin, we have been getting nice moves off of these levels. Again, the levels, depending on what your entry points were. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat box area. And if you look at the chat box area, you're going to see the levels again that are imprinted there for you. So again, use those as a guide. We already got triggered with the 95. We got triggered with the 05. And the next support level we have is down at 85. We had some resistance around the 6 area, which was backed up by our blue band up there at 08. We had a little support at around our settlement price there a couple times. And so market has been giving us some good ebbs and flows against some of the concepts and ideas that we like to use. The resistance area on top would be the 27 area. Really, you might go retest the 20 area and then up above that 27 if we rotated back up there. But we've got some couple areas there we have to get through on the top side there. sure. Go ahead, Glenn. Glenn G. Well, it's not that simple. Do you buy above it and sell below it? It's more of an area that the market is going to focus in on to get some direction. So yeah, it's easy to say that if you buy above it, sell below it. Yeah, that's the easy part. But there's other ways of using it to help us when we are trading. Maybe keeping a bias is one aspect of it that you can say instead of saying just that's straightforward. There's a little bit more to pivots. Pivots, I don't know, are even sometimes they're tradable, sometimes they're not. When we start trading on both sides of our pivot in a range, then that's an idea that you shouldn't be doing anything because the market's really not going anywhere. It's just a kind of a guide to keep us on the right side of the market, and also kind of when it does trade around the pivot on both ends, maybe you stay away from the market. It has different ideas or issues, or how you use them is based on everyday's trade. I mean, if you get a free flowing trade and the market goes one way, obviously, if it's below the pivot, oh, I should have sold it. Well, yeah, but where you sell it and how you get in, maybe it gives you an opportunity to find if like today, let's say we're below the pivot, maybe you're finding areas to get short, to try to take advantage of the move to the downside if it continues. But then again, maybe your mindset and your the side that you're looking at the market might change if we get above it and stay above. Maybe you're looking to get bullish more. So yeah, it's there. It's where the market pivots off of, and maybe keeping you on the right side of the market by finding good entry points until it. But again, when the markets are getting bigger ranges, there's other issues that you look at to keep you long or short. But the pivot is there just to kind of. There's not one set rule for it, is what I'm trying to say. It's just a starting point for us to get going and then see where we go from there. No, it doesn't give you a really solid answer, but each and every day has its own set of dynamics for trading, and the volatility, the direction, the fundamental news that's affecting the market. But as a trader, all we're trying to look for is movement back and forth against areas of support and resistance that the market creates. And if it happens to be the pivot, or if it doesn't happen, if it happens to be above it or below it, really doesn't make a difference. The point is just a starting point, and then use it as a way to keeping you on the right side of the market if the market gives you that opportunity. If it gives you a chance to, like today, to sell it, and maybe you use that as a stop above it, if you're trying to get short. Yeah. So again, every day like it has its own uniqueness to it, and we're just taking the opportunities based on the movement of the market. It could change. We could be bullish and for a little bit, and then we can change our mind and be bearish the next hour or 5 minutes. All depends on the price action. So it's just another tool that we use to keep us on the right side of the market. Also another tool that we use to help us with our technical analysis. Well, how would I use the 43.15 now? Probably the first time to it, I'd probably either in this situation sell it. depending. But there's also other factors involved. But if you had to press me right now, I'd say if we get back up there, maybe it's a little bit of a sale against the 15 initially, and keep your stop in place, right? So the first rotation back to it'll probably be a sale in this situation today. But then if we revert and we start trading above it and hold, then you become a little bit more bullish on the market. All right, well, there's an answer for you. They definitely are pushing us lower. Next support level we have is down at the 84 area. They kind of just gave that up really quickly. I mean, there's also, people talking in the background, fundamental news coming out. The situation in Washington is fluid, to say the least, right? So all of these things are contributing to the volatility and these quick moves that we're getting, like you're getting right now. It's coming right against our green band here, trying to get down to that 84 area. Again, you never know what triggered this little move here. We were kind of quiet, trading, somewhat normal. We go from 01 down to 88 in a minute, right? So this is why we had, you didn't know what to do up there, and so consequently, you have to just kind of hopefully stay out of it. Or if you did get in somewhere, make sure you keep your stop in place. We always talk about making sure you keep your stop in place because you don't want to get caught up in one of these rotations here. But we really had no reason to get in at that point, right? We had resistance at the 12 area, and the only place you could have gotten in was 8. That was 10 minutes ago, but it started chopping around. So it gets into these chop around areas. You have to basically just stay out and wait for the market to, make a move or see where we're at. Where we had support, we have supported 84, and that's where we're trying to do here. See what it wants to do there. Got down to 88 and change, 80, right short of our 84 area there. So see what it wants to do as it continues to sell off here a little bit. We are getting ebbs and flows and the market is moving around. So coming back down here to our 84 area now. Again, how you scale in is depending on each individual here. Nobody trades the same way. We talk about that many a time. All right, getting a nice rotation there against 85, which top end. Again, we talk about how you're scaling in, right? And we're getting a nice 4-point rotation here off of that. So this is what we're we've been missing it by a point. By now, if you don't get in a point above or the level, it's kind of, it's where you have to get in these days. Today for sure. I mean, it seems like I'm missing it by a point, but we are getting a nice rotation. So hopefully we're able to get in at 86 there, and the market continues to be a little bit of pressure here. And if you nice rotation against our level. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea why the market's all of a sudden, selling up, but we had our support level down there and it got triggered. And again, if you're going to do the lower end of the range, you could do that too. Just understand the risk. The lower end of the scaling range is what I'm trying to say here, right? If you're going to do that, that's fine, as long as you understand the risk involved. We are getting some nice rotations against our levels, albeit top end of our entry points there. Again, we never know why these rotations are going to happen. If you did get in at 84, you're getting a nice little pop-up here as well, but maybe you got in there. Maybe you're scaling in a point above and below a level. so that keeps you in the game, getting in. And obviously the 84 worked if you're still doing that. We're still in the same bar, so that was okay to get in there at 84 if you had that straight up. Very, very volatile little move here. And we don't know why it's happening. Could be somebody saying something. Could be, who knows, could we repeat the levels again in the chat box area? All we care about is the opportunity for the market to give us ebbs and flows against levels that we have, in addition to price action opportunities. And so that happens, we are good to go. And we just try to take advantage of those ebbs and flows of the market. All right, there are the levels. Let me give you a couple more levels here below, just in case. I don't know what's going to happen, but in case we do continue to break down here a little bit. Below 75, we've got 68, 60, and 48. All right, nice push there. If you got in at the lower end of our entry point there against the 84 area. So if you got in there at 83 or 82 and change, you are making a nice little rotation here. Seems our areas are working around the areas are working pretty good. So we are scalping those opportunities. So below 75, we've got 68, 60, and 48. And there they are. Thank you. You are on top of things today. Yes, you are. All right, going to Mickey has really refreshed you. You're bringing up Mickey a lot. Do you see Minnie also, or no? I mean, don't they hang out together? You're only talking about Mickey, though. I don't know. I'm worried about you. He doesn't do that for. Don's getting a little upset. He goes, you don't put up the levels for him. He only do it. He only do it for me. What can I say, Don? I went out to California and visited him. Did you? Okay, then. There you have it. All right, market. I don't know what's going on here, but they do not like it all of a sudden. Next support level we have is down at 75. Again, we are getting good ebbs and flows against the levels that we have. So again, and if we don't, if you're going to use a level, and make sure you keep your stop in place. We're not going to be perfect. This is a big move here from the 01 in the last 8 minutes all the way down here, like good 20, 25 point move. So something's up, right? Again, we don't really care. All we're looking for is opportunities to trade. Support level is down at the 75. See what happens there. Mark said when he sees your horse in his driveway, then he'll just start giving you the levels. Put him out there for you as his wingman. As your wingman. You see your horse in his driveway. Can you imagine that happens in California? They'd go nuts, especially on your lawn. They might leave some gifts on your lawn. What are you going to do then? All right, market is chopping around here a little bit. Support level is down at 75. Resistance right now would be around the 96 area. I know it's moving around a lot, but patience is important. We are getting some nice rotations against our levels. There is something going on in the background that's creating these moves. That's right, Don. That's exactly right. Those are the gifts I'm talking about. They don't like those gifts in California. All right. You got to be patient. You got to wait for opportunities. We're getting them with the volatility. And again, just keep your stops in place in case one of our levels don't work out. But again, how you're getting in is helping you stay in the trade and being patient and waiting for the opportunity to present itself. All of those things are part of the game plan here. And every day we do have a game plan for our trades. We try not to come in with an opinion. I try not to be a little bit, I want to sell it this morning. Oh, I don't want to sell it this morning. I'm coming in there and just trading the market, whatever opportunities the market can present itself for us. And again, we like to focus in on the morning hours. Morning hours do help us with the volatility and the dynamics of the morning are kind of in our favor versus if you are trading later in the afternoon. Kind of things change a little bit. Nice little double bottom there. If you were a little aggressive, maybe you did get in. Take advantage of this little rotation. So we have our levels here. We got 75, and then we have 68, 60, and then 48. And those are the additional levels that we're giving out. Like I said, we don't know which way markets are going to go. All we can do is trade the ebbs and flows on any given day. What happened to the Z? Trade along. Let's it. All right, nice rotation back up here. Got down to 77 and change there. We were looking at 75. Obviously, even if you didn't get down to 76, that would have been a little bit better entry point for us. Oh, there we go. Ooh, zoom. All right. Now, because of this little double bottom there at the 77 area, be a little bit careful against 75. Maybe use our 74. There's a little bit of an adjustment. I can say that we our levels have kept us out of trouble. That's for sure. It hasn't gotten us in any trouble today. We are just kind of working the areas. Come up here to our green band a little bit. Maybe they were just joking about this little move to the downside. I don't know. Market is very slippery both ways. So it's a matter of being patient and waiting for levels to get triggered and then working those levels once they get triggered. If any of this stuff interests you, if you are trying to be a trader or want to learn some concepts and ideas, we do have an education course for some of you who are in here who are new and not used to this. We are trading or scalping futures contracts on the stock index, and we do this here every day. This is futures contracts where, they used to have this thing on a floor with a whole bunch of people yelling and screaming at each other. That's not happening anymore, at least not in Chicago, not at the Board of Trade or the CME, I should say. All right, we got right up to our green band there. If you were just a little aggressive there, you could have maybe got in. Got to find those opportune areas that the market might extend off of, or if you did, you're getting a nice little trade here. The opportunities are there. It's just a matter of, do you want to take the risk to take it or not? And that's fine. Everybody's got different risk tolerances. Every trade that I say doesn't mean that you have to take. If you made your quota, then you are gone. That's fine too. We focus more on the morning hours to help us with our opportunities. All right, things have kind of slowed down just a little. But again, we are focused here in the morning. There's going to be some volatility here all day long. We talked about this yesterday as well in regards to the turmoil in Washington and what's being created here by the dysfunction in Washington again, right? They seem not to be able to understand that it's not important what they are going to be happening to their own political careers, but they should put the country in front of themselves, but they haven't figured that out yet. So the dysfunction in Washington continues and it's creating some volatility here in the market. So at any given moment, you can get some movements here based on some fundamental news that's being thrown into the market. We had a lot of Fed speaks yesterday, not so much so today. So, that was going on yesterday, and we'll see what happens today. But, hopefully, we're able to take advantage of some of our opportunities based on the levels that we gave out this morning. And if you looked at the chat box area, you'll find them there. And they're there to help you as just a guide to the day. And into later in the late afternoon if you're going to be trading in late afternoon. But I've mentioned this before. We like to stay focused here on the morning hours. That gives us better opportunities, good ebbs and flows. The market conditions are a little bit more susceptible to our concepts and ideas in the first couple hours of the day versus if you sit with this and all day long, it could get the market does get a little bit more whippy, slippery. There are less traders involved, and it it could move a little bit more quickly and kind of run through levels versus the morning hours where they seem to be holding a little bit better. So our concepts and ideas are more geared to the morning hours to help with the opportunities. But obviously, we're not always going to make, sometimes we have to trade in the afternoon, but hopefully we don't usually have to. And even if you are down a little bit, it's probably better not to, just because like I said, the dynamics do change in the afternoon, and the trade is totally different than the morning hours. All right, Mark, you too. All right, we got right up to our green band there, and I had a nice rotation here off of it if you were looking for a place to sell it. Couple rotations up there now. I wouldn't touch it if we get back up there again. And if any, if any of you are interested in the education course where we try to help you find these areas to trade, please let us know. All right, the green band is simply a moving average, but sometimes comes into play for us. All right, market is definitely under a little bit of pressure, at least initially. I think we get above 90. We could rally up to the upside. And then we have some good resistance around the 98 to even area. Very whippy, as you can see, all over the place. Thought a second ago we were breaking down to the lows, and right now we're going right back. In 1 minute, you went from the low range 10-point move here in 1 minute. So again, we can see how slippery the market is, and this is good time not to do much, right? I mean, unless you like the craziness of the market, but I would, trying to catch a 10-point move in a minute is kind of tough one way or the other. And whether you want it to be short or long, who knows, right? I mean, all I can say is that that was one hell of a move there in 1 minute. It got everybody short, and then all of a sudden they all ran it right back up. But then, like I said, patience is important, and waiting for good opportunities is important. You don't want to get caught in one of these big moves here. And that's why, really, if you really think about it, any of these moves could happen at any moment in time, especially in the afternoon. So this is why, if we are up a little bit of money and happy with what you've made, and it's Friday, and there's always going to be tomorrow, right? It's tough to get caught up in one of these quick moves here, and you could easily. It's very easily could happen. So trying to stay out of trouble is a very big important part of trading, which is hard to do sometimes. I can honestly tell you that. I've tried to trade staying out of trouble, it just doesn't work. Because no matter how much you try to stay out of trouble, you seem to always get into it when you're not trying to get into trouble. Does that make sense? I was stuck in a little bit of a range here, albeit a big range, but a little bit of a range. This is what I like to call the no trade zone right in here. No reason to get yourself trading in this little area when it's not really moving. It's just going back and forth, not going anywhere fast. And it's hard to guess which way it's going to go, right? I mean, it's my own thing. It could be totally different. Okay, well, we're coming back down here to the lows, see what it wants to do. Again, probably make an adjustment down to the 74 here against our lower level. All right, you can see they tried to inch it a little bit lower and popped it right back up. Again, market definitely nervous, and just patience and waiting for the opportunities. Made a good way to go here. Like I said, this is like the no trade zone over here. So support down around 74. We do have 68 below that. So in case you are want to not do the 64 or 74, then you can just wait for the 68 and below that and see what happens. But we can see here, we definitely range bound here a little bit, right? Eke that to the lows, coming back up here to the top. If you're trading the range, you're doing okay, but not our favorite thing to do. All right, yeah, you can see we go from the low end of the range back up to the top of the range, and it's a big, hefty range. So if you can guess that, and if you can play in the range game, you're doing great. Otherwise, just be patient and wait. Above 90, we might rotate back up to the 98 to even area. Well, below, well, we could go below 74 there and see what happens there. So here we go, top of the range, coming back down. Again, if you're going to play the range game, just keep your stops in place. Let's be a little bit patient here and see what happens. Range game for sure. If we get above 90, we might rotate back up to the 98 to even area. But the market is very slippery and nervous trading that way. Keep your stops in place. We have our levels below. We had ample opportunities this morning against our levels, against some price action plays. Get back here in a bit.
Yeah, I was asked to send out the subscription access links for our service. I'll send it out to everybody now. That's for the opportunity to stay, be part of what we do here on a daily basis. If you have any questions about the Trading Academy and Saul's course, let us know. First level of entry into our service is what I just posted. Just went out to everybody. Make sure you review it. Hey, Tova, how are you? The longer you subscribe, the less it is. I would say for those that are part of Saul's service, you probably did the year today based on Saul's services. So take a moment, lock yourself in, part of what we do. Hey, Anupam, how are you? DD and David D. Vinder. Hey, Edward, Frank, Fred, Glenn G. Glenn, what are you doing? Did you sign up for Saul's friends and family services I just posted? Hey, Glenn, James, how are you? Joel, KG, Kenneth. Hey, Kenneth, I tried to reach out to you yesterday. I think you might have walked away from your computer. I shut down. I saw that you were still there, but I reached out to you a couple times. Let me know what you're doing, how we can help you. Hey, Philip, Walk, how are you? Regina, same. Hey, Robert, Roop, Steve, Y, and Tova. We run here from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. We're finished, could be finished at any time during the morning session. 2, 3, 4, 5 trades from an educational point of view. Saul's proprietary scalping levels and zones. His price action, trade action commentary. So if you like it, stay. If you like it, tell your friends. If you're not interested, that's okay. The up part of this is that you can take Saul's Trading Academy class where he teaches you his price action trading methodology. As I mentioned this morning, if you have your own trading methodology, then you're in good shape. If you need that tuned up, let us know and we can help you with that. There's a lot that goes on here that you can be part of, but the first step is the first step, which is to sign up for, it says Trade Along Live subscription access fee, 9 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern time, and then it goes through the various opportunities based on time. So take a moment, review it, sign yourself up. I'll look for you in the background. It's interesting, right, Kenneth? Are you signed up for Saul's friends and family? We have individuals that sign up, come and go as they please. No big deal for us. Just want to make sure that you're part of our service. Time is time, right? The time we just had, you can't get back. Got to make the most of it. That's why we offer this Trading Academy opportunity for people that want to do 2, 3, 4, 5 trades, bank their money, and go off and do something else early. Well, welcome. The concept here is how do you come to your screens in a disciplined fashion by having Saul's proprietary scalping levels and zones. have him as your wingman during the morning session. And then as you come out of the session, having done a couple trades, you're happy. And you banked your money for the day and you go on, you do something else. If you need to develop a recipe, a trading technique, and you're not let's say you're not happy with your technique and you'd like to work with Saul based on his technique and learn his technique and make it your own, that's the Trading Academy part. But again, it all starts with signing up for this mosh pit, being part of his Trade Along Live service, subscribing, being part of his world, and then able to plug in what you're looking for based on those opportunities. Pretty straightforward stuff. It really, again, just weeds out the people we should be paying attention to and the people that we shouldn't. It's just really as simple as that. So Tova, let us know. Steve Y, let us know. Regina, let us know. Kenneth, obviously, let us know. Hey, James, how are you? Let us know. Hey, James, if anybody's interested that's part of, and this is for everybody, okay? If you were interested in Saul's Trading Academy course, where he takes you into private session and teaches you his methodology, the entries, exits, and stops, the whys, based on his trading, price action trading strategy, and then come in here on a daily basis as a proving ground and an access point to him as you're applying your newfound trading discipline and skills. Let us know. And Tova, I will wait for you to make sure that you're authorized properly in the background. That's how much I want to have you included in our service on a daily basis. Ben, I'm still waiting on you. D. I have a David D and a DD. Are you the same? You don't have to be the same. Devinder, let us know what you'd like to do. Edward, if you're interested in Saul's Trading Academy, let us know. Fred S. Fred, you're part of Saul's friends and family, right? Sometimes I lose track. Glenn, did you sign up? Let me know back in chat. Hey, Joel. Hey, Joel, let me know if you're around because I part of the family. I want to make sure that you're taken care of. Just let me know if you're in the background. I'll let you know what that means. Walk the same. Glenn, come on. What are you doing? That's for Glenn G. I mean, you got the caps working too. What are you yelling at the man? I'm really not here. I'm just an artificial intelligent being. I don't even know if you can put intelligence. Maybe I'm just an artificial being. I don't want to get ahead, in front of my skis here, saying that, it's artificial intelligence. I'm just working for the man. That's right. I'm like a bot. I don't know if anybody remembers Max Headroom. Max Headroom was just a head on the screen talking at you. Man, that was crazy. I don't know if I see. I don't watch a lot of that programming anymore, but he was on MTV a lot, if I can remember correctly. MTV. Oh, Ben, are you a website ninja? I need one. I bought a couple things that I found out that weren't as capable as I would like. So I just sent out a message, see if I can get a discount on one of these plugins. Because I already bought the official plugin, and I've got to figure out how to get. That might not work as well, the original, than the one that I found after further research. I'm still working on it. But if you're waiting for the website to take action, I wouldn't. I would take action before. What you should sign up for is Saul's Friends and Family. The one I sent out to you, grab a discount based on length. And then I can offer you the opportunity to be part of his course and his mentoring work. And it gives you access to this. You're buying the Trade Along Live, and then you have the course, and then you're in. Yeah, no, I think I found somebody. It's WooCommerce, and then I got a whole bunch of other stuff. I actually put it together, and now I'm just trying to figure out the cart, and that's the problem that I'm having because it's a subscription cart, and it's a subscription cart that has something to do with Zoom integration, which is where I start to as out over it. So I found the pieces of the puzzle, and then instead of doing development to do something, I'd rather buy a plugin or rent a plugin. So you rent them for a year, and then you have the ability to charge for subscriptions, which this is a subscription service. I'm working on that. And then we have the trading class, which is done in a private Zoom room, and that'll be part of it. But we can manually add individuals in there. See how that works. And in that environment, you can use your headset. So if you're thinking about it, get a headset, like mine. My headset's like earmuffs. And it has earmuffs with a microphone. So I'll have that done. Actually, I shouldn't say that. This last piece is the piece that could take some. It's already taken me a week or so. But the last piece either could be very easy based on this new plugin. The Zoom plugin, may have to be adjusted or adapted or tweaked to work with it. But this looks like it's going to give us the opportunity to take this into the prime time. Hey, Lawrence, how are you? Welcome. Lawrence, this is Trade Along Live. We're coming to the end of the morning session here. As you can tell by the charts, it was a wild morning session. The concept here is how do you come in with a great trading discipline, be able to manage yourself, to be able to pocket money during the morning session and be done for the day. Yeah, the doing websites is a tough. No, it's not tough. It just takes time. Just like trading, the effort that it takes. And actually, it's interesting because it's our contention that a lot of the noise that is presented based on standardized software and charting really causes a lot of damage out there to traders. because it looks so darn easy. To set up charts, order entry, indicators, colors, crosses, time frames. It all takes work. It's like building a website, right? You're doing it for a reason. You're doing it to make money based on your trading platform. It's our contention that that's a false friend. That if you boil it down to this case, key areas and levels that become important, and that you can take action at those areas and levels and know what the action is based on the entries, exits, and stops. And you practice that and practice that and practice that until you get it down. Then you have a trading business because you're now in control. You're not being controlled by your trading platform and the bells and whistles and the distractions that come with. And it's it's all mental distractions, right? That's the scary part. You're being pulled based on the screens, the beeping, the interactions, the P&L. All that stuff pulls you away from where the rubber meets the road at the price action level of the trade. And individuals figure that out or they don't. And we hope that by coming here, you can start figuring it out. And if you look at Saul's TikTok, you can do the same thing. What does he do coming into the morning session? And how can you get on board? How can you do the same thing? And that is taught in his trading academy, Trade Along Live Trading Academy, where he teaches you his methodology on a personalized level. And then you come in here and you act based on what you learned and utilize Trade Along Live, this service, as a proving ground for what you learned in his trading academy as he teaches it to you. We also have traders that come in and they're just really interested in getting better levels, and better levels equal better trades. And they come in and they get Saul's levels from an educational point of view. And they work with Saul, utilizing Saul as their wingman during the trading session. And that's our Trade Along Live service. And that's what we do here on a daily basis. I would also say that based on fee and fee structure, today's another example of possibly you could have banked your money and paid for an entire year of this service, let alone a month or quarterly. That's very interesting to mention because that's why we're here. We're here to make money and have the ability to spend that money on things that are important. And I would say that, in my humble opinion, this is important. But, that's just me. You have to decide if it's important. And you have to take action based on what you want to do. And it really helps us determine who we pay attention to and who we don't. If you've got somebody that's got 25 years plus of experience talking to you, and from an educational point of view, moving you in the right direction on a daily basis, is an unbelievable opportunity for you as an individual. So I'll be in the background, take action. Right now it's 11:29. We've been working, or Saul's been working pretty hard from the 9:30 bell until now. And as I've mentioned a number of times, the concept here is how to bank your money, be done for the day, and go off and do something else. So now we're in the do something else phase. Saul could be teaching in the background. He could be working with one of his students. He could be out hitting golf balls. He could be lighting cigars with $100 bills. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do based on your freedom from the act of being a good trader. Now, there's a big difference between being a trader and being a profitable trader based on your trading business. And we look to help you bridge that gap between where you are and where you should like to be. If you've been doing this for a while and you're just not getting it done, let us know. We can help you. If you're looking again for the wingman during the Trade Along Live session, that's Saul. And that's been displayed up there for everybody. Trade Along Live subscription access fee, 9 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern time. And then it goes through the various opportunities. So hop on it, and I'll authorize you in the background so that you're all set. And we go from there. And again, we appreciate you being here. It's funny because there's a lot that goes on. And we appreciate you, and step up to the plate and bring your buddies in if you like what we're doing. Thank you.